obviously it's terrible news. You know, COVID-19 is not a pleasant thing for anyone to have to deal with, and it's affecting a lot of people in very, very negative ways. But for uranium and gold, it's what it needed. It's reacted strongly to this news, and I guess, you know, with all the negative stuff aside, uranium CEOs must be quite pleased with the way the market has reacted. I mean, you guys have been starving for 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, you know, and I think I've said this to you before too. I usually find that the, excuse me, it usually takes a number of small things to add up to a major thing in this business. You know, like, you know, you saw the shutdowns of some of these facilities, you know, and then it started, you know, in Canada, and then you saw it in Namibia, you saw it in Kazakhstan, the conversion facility, you know, Cameco shut down the conversion facility. So it all starts building. So then there's a shortfall of production that people were expecting. Price uranium starts to go up. The whole COVID issue has heightened the awareness on dependency on other countries, particularly some of those that are you know, political adversaries. You know, so all this stuff starts feeding, and people start saying, you know, going for the cheapest product isn't necessarily the best option. And it is not the best option, particularly on a number of critical materials. I'm not talking minerals, I'm talking materials that are necessary for a country like the United States of America to be ready and prepared and have security supply at different levels, to not have that total dependency.
Okay, I've got to ask this question. You did the Section 232 petition. You were one of the two guys, you and Jeff at UR Energy, okay, and you've been huddled up on Capitol Hill talking to people, knocking on doors, and you've been pushing the security issue. Has this rare earths story come about because of conversations up on the Hill? Are you getting support for this announcement from US government? I mean, is there some kind of connection between those two decisions? What was the genesis of this? You got some inbound calls, I get it, but what's the genesis of this idea?
Well, I think the genesis is the awareness over the last several years, actually, that we become overly dependent on a lot of our critical minerals, and they were basically on separate paths, separate but similar paths. Now, we've been approached by some in government on the rare earths, say even a year ago, and we expressed interest in it. But again, you know, we don't want to lose focus. You know, we're not trying to morph ourselves into something that we're not. You know, we wanted to keep our main focus on uranium because that's our main game. So, you know, yeah, we did have made a lot of contacts with the government. Several of those contacts also have an interest in rare earths, and I believe that a lot of them will be very pleased that we're being more aggressive on the rare earth front, you know, because of particularly what we've communicated in the last few weeks. So, you know, I think it just highlights, you know, I think that White Mesa has the potential to be a huge critical mineral central when you look at the critical mineral of uranium, vanadium, and now we start expanding into the rare earths themselves, which are also critical minerals. You know, where else would you find that, Matt? In the United States or in the world? And even though we're still hanging our hat on uranium first and foremost, as I said, we can't turn our head to it, and it's a legitimate opportunity. So, you know, we're going to be pursuing it, but, you know, when we have to make a choice between one or the other, it's going to be first uranium going forward. But we're definitely going to focus on this with at least, you know, a few people, a few employees trying to advance this as quickly as they can.
Okay. When are you going to be in a position? Because actually, let's start with, what is the process that you have to go through to understand the economics as to whether you do invest in a new circuit or some kind of upgrade to the current mill? Because you are going to need to spend some money in this thing, and obviously in this climate, money's tight. What's the process, and when do you make that decision?
Yeah, well, look, you've got to start from the material that's available to be processed. So, we'll start looking at different feeds. We have already got some feeds from other groups that we're testing to determine, what the mineralogy is and, what it takes to unlock some of these minerals. We've got a full lab at White Mesa. We can do a lot of pilot testing at White Mesa, which gets us, again, ahead of everybody else. We also have, and I have had a long relationship with ANSTO in Sydney with testing and on uranium projects, but they're also one of the world leaders on rare earths. I'm a firm believer that you need to know what you don't know. Remember that little saying I
love
said?
That phrase, yes.
But I've got a number of contacts with ANSTO. They can provide support where we don't have the knowledge in some of these areas. There also could be other people here in the United States or Canada that we may tap into, but we will go where we can get the best advice. But at the same time, we've got a head start with a full laboratory and the ability to pilot material right now. And we are testing rare earth material right now for recovery because we have facilities to do so.
And again, timing. Can you give us an idea of timing? Because, okay, that's a process you're going through, but when people are going to be excited about, like, you talked about $50 million earlier, right? So people are going to be excited about when are we going to start seeing some movement on this?
Yeah, look, there could be movement on this in the coming weeks, okay? We think that it is possible, and I said this on the call, but that we could be treating, so look at some of these streams we think we can treat now, okay, if they're suitable for our process or our modified process. But we think that this is not multiples of years out. This is just, a year or two out for certain processing of certain streams, But again, we're not so far ahead that we can really give any specific dates. But we are far closer to the market than somebody that's trying to build a facility from scratch by years and years, and probably millions and millions of dollars, maybe hundreds of millions of dollars. I don't know. It depends on the scale and the size. So we think we're offering something unique here and scarce. And that's a good place to be in.
It's a very good place to be in. So you're gonna, if it is weeks, you pick up the phone and let us know, because that's pretty exciting. That could be very exciting to everyone, because if you're able to, in a few weeks, start giving us definition of the process and the numbers and the timing, that would be great news indeed.
Yeah, I just want to say one thing is that as I said, we've already started some testing, and if we come have a party that we can team with, that we can go public with, we'll certainly update the market with that at the appropriate time. So but as I said, we do have material from some projects right now that we're looking at and we're testing as we speak.
So and just to be clear, because you mentioned you've got a lab facility. This isn't just regular toll milling. You've got a lab facility there. You're dealing with radioactive material. It's actually quite sophisticated, not just a kind of regular processing mill here we're talking about.
Yeah. Look, we've got the facility. We've got around 60 people at the facility. We have a very sophisticated lab. We have the ability to deal with those streams, dispose of those streams when we're done testing them. Just a very, very unique position to be in.